Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 203 from May 26th through June 1st. This weekend saw Jamaica secure a strong second win as they beat Trinidad and Tobago in the RAN XVs Tournament. The 2025 Rugby World Cup is already setting records with over 350,000 tickets sold, with 90 days still to go. At the 2025 IGR Union Cup in Oslo, Les Simon remained undefeated to claim the inaugural Emily Valentine Cup. Also, the Ruck You Match united trans women and well-known cis women to champion inclusion in rugby. Over in North America, the Baltimore Flamingos-Ferals took home the 2025 Women's Plus Cup. Looking ahead, we have the 2025 Oceania Championships kicking off June 6th in Fiji, and the Africa Cup will start June 7th in Madagascar. In Premier Rugby, Stade Bordelais won their third straight Elite One title in France, and round 11 of WRR saw some serious shakeups. We'll cover more of that when we talk about our premier and global competitions worldwide. I'm Wendy, here to bring you the latest in women's rugby news. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're kicking off now. We'll start with 15s news. After 2 weekends of play in the RAN 15s Interregional Tournament, Jamaica has beaten Trinidad and Tobago 71-7, putting them on top of the standings. But Mexico can still claim their second title ever, the last one being in 2019, if they beat Trinidad and Tobago in their final game on June 28th. As the 2025 Rugby World Cup trophy makes its rounds around the United Kingdom to promote the event starting on August 22nd, it was announced that over 350,000 tickets have been sold. That's the most ever for a Women's World Cup, and there is now a stretch goal of 400,000 tickets. Over the weekend, International Gay Rugby held two major events. There was the Union Cup in Oslo, and then the NORAM Cup in Boston. We'll start with the IGR Union Cup in Oslo. Les Simon claimed victory over the Bruisers in the inaugural Emily Valentine Cup final, marking a landmark moment that celebrated diversity and inclusion in rugby. Also in Oslo, the Ruck You Match, a sevens game, was a groundbreaking event where trans women faced off against a team of well-known cis women trailblazers. The final score was 34-7, with the trans team scoring a lone try after the sides were mixed. Now over to Boston, where in the Women's Plus Cup, there were 4 teams, including the Baltimore Flamingos, San Jose Seahawks, Village Lions, and North Shore. The Baltimore Flamingos won the tournament. After all the matches on the weekend, a little bit of movement in the World Rugby rankings. First, we'll talk about the climbing teams. Jamaica up to 38, Colombia to 29, and then Croatia, Finland, Brazil. That's because of some of the movement of the falling on the other teams. On the other side, Trinidad and Tobago, their loss moves them down to 34, and then same story for Latvia, Romania, and Czechia. In our look ahead, we've got a full graphic again. We did get all of June in there. So, of course, we've got our Africa Cup matches, several of those during June. We will see the Europe Sevens Championships start in Croatia, and then they'll move to Hamburg. We also have some more LIT Super 7 Series Elite stops. This weekend will be Shelford, and then we'll have National Pub Sevens. And then, of course, we have the WER Championships where we've got Denver locked in, and then we'll have to see who the second team is on June 29th. The 2025 Oceania Championship begins June 6th in Fiji, with Fiji defending their title, Samoa aiming to reclaim. Tonga will be there as well. Fiji and Samoa have already qualified for the Rugby World Cup, so this is a critical warm-up event for them. Then the 2025 Africa Cup will kick off June 7th in Madagascar. The teams competing will be South Africa, Kenya, Madagascar, and Uganda. Uganda winning the Division 1 tournament earlier in the year will replace Cameroon in the competition. South Africa is the only winner ever of this event, and so they will looking to defend, and also it will be a key warm-up ahead of the 2025 Rugby World Cup. Japan will host Spain for 2 matches, July 19th and July 26th. This will serve as both of their final home games before the 2025 Rugby World Cup. In an article pulling no punches, the BBC summed up Welsh rugby's season as ending in turmoil, with just 2 wins from 18 national games, off-field disputes, financial chaos, and a Cardiff administration crisis that deepened regional tensions. And basically, the future of Wales is so uncertain right now. We'll switch over to club and premier news. Stade Bordelais won their third straight Elite One title in France. They edged out Stade Toulousain 32-24. It was an electric final. It capped a day that celebrated the strength and spirit of French women's rugby across 7 national finals. Round 11 of WER shook up the standings. Denver suffered their first loss. New York defeated them, moving New York into second, Bay Area edged into third, and Boston slipped to fourth. We went ahead and updated our Legacy Cup odds because that defeat of Denver by New York really shook things up. We have Denver obviously has clinched, so they will be in the Legacy Cup on June 29th. Exiles now have a 60% chance. Bay 35, Boston outside 5% chance. I'm going to look at my notes because there's a lot of permutations, and I may not have this all right. I've had a couple of people look at it, including some of the WR League folks. But New York, they must win their final match against Chicago Tempest on June 14th to secure at least 32 points. Even a loss could still keep them in contention if Bay Area doesn't earn enough bonus points. They do hold tiebreaker advantages due to head-to-head and bonus points over Boston. Now, Bay Area, the easiest path for them is just to win their next two matches. They'll, of course, play Tempest, and on June 14th, they'll play Denver. Now that we know Denver is not invincible, maybe they can do it, or they just need to get 7 points, so a combination of a win and a bonus point here and there. Their bonus points are crucial. Without them, they're unlikely to overtake New York. Boston, with their outside 5% chance, they can still do it, but the fate is not in their hands. They can only reach a maximum of 32 points with a bonus point win on June 13th versus TC Gemini. But they're effectively out unless Bay Area and New York fail to secure bonus points in their matches. The tiebreakers favor New York and Bay over Boston, which is limiting their chances. And we're not going to know until the last week and the last day of the regular season who the second place team is for the Legacy Final. Let's do sevens news now. We have to issue a correction from our video last week. We were talking about the LIT Super Sevens Elite. We erroneously reported that another team won the tournament. In fact, it was Shogun, and you can see the standings here. They do move on to Shelford Sevens this weekend, and we'll have another update on that afterwards. LIT Sevens will hold its first USA tournament on November 29th in Florida, featuring elite open, social, and age grade competitions for under 23, under 19, and under 17 players. If you haven't been to any of their camps, you need to get to them, and then this event is going to be spectacular. That does it for us. Of course, there's more news on our site at yscrugby.com. Never miss an episode of YSC by signing up on Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, or following one of your favorite social media platforms.